One of the great things about stories, and by that extent films, is that if you have a perfect ending, it can elevate even a garbage level film to perfection itself. So, here are 4 films with satisfying endings. I'm Zack Bishop, and welcome to 4 Films. First up is Darkness Falls from 2003, starring Anya from Buffy, and some guy. Now basically this movie is just a 5 out of 10. There's nothing too special about it, it's just okay. But the ending is very satisfying. You see, Kyle's mom was killed by Matilda Dixon. Well, the spirit of Matilda Dixon, aka the Tooth Fairy. I don't know why that's supposed to be ominous. And the reason she hates light is because when she was alive, she was in a horrible fire. So the reason is actually kind of clever how it comes back in the end. And the fact that it's only mentioned one time in the beginning. So then at the very end of the film, when everybody thinks it's safe and oh, we defeated her using like the lighthouse or whatever. Wrong. The Tooth Fairy comes back and attacks Kyle, whose arm is covered in kerosene from trying to light up the lighthouse, as you do. So naturally, to get himself out of this horrible, horrible situation, he sets his own arm on fire and he shoryukens that hoe. Shoryukens her into oblivion. Amazing. Next up is There Will Be Blood, starring Daniel Day-Lewis as a man who is driven by his goals. You see, nothing will stop him from obtaining what he wants. And then some religious jackass lies to him to get him to come with him to get rich. What a shock. A religious person lying. So this moron tries to use his power to establish dominance and gain wealth, but he's not willing to go as far as Daniel Day-Lewis. As an example, in one crushing scene, Daniel Day-Lewis calls his adopted son nothing but a bastard in a basket. But what really illustrates his character is that satisfying ending. It's really the best part of the film. Spoilers. Daniel Day-Lewis humiliates this douchebag and makes him renounce his own false faith and how it was all a scam to get rich, and then beats him to death with a bowling pin. It's terrible. It's shocking, but damn is it satisfying. Basically, if Daniel Day-Lewis's character didn't have that kind of powerful ambition, a lesser man would have caved in and probably fell for that trick, but he wanted to achieve what he wanted so badly, he was willing to sacrifice everything. And he still ended up with something instead of nothing. And on the other hand, it is very tragic that he gave up so much just to end up where he's at. But then again, once again, it doesn't matter. He's rich. Third up is Child's Play 2. The sequel to Child's Play sees the return of young Andy Barkley, now in a foster home, and the return of the evil Charles Lee Ray as the murder doll we all know and love, known as Chucky. It's a solid sequel with nothing too fancy, but we do get a lot of vicious kills and vicious wisecracks from Chucky. It's actually good that they fleshed out his personality even more so. It's just very vicious all around. The end of the film takes us to the Good Guy Doll factory, where young Andy and his foster sister Kyle have to finally put an end to Chucky. They kill this son of a bitch at least twice, and each one is more satisfying than the last. And my favorite part of it is when Andy uses the Good Guy Doll catchphrase in a way to get a sick one-liner considering he's just a kid. You know, Chucky's about to die and he's like, "Andy, please!" And Andy says, "This is the end, friend." Damn, okay, we got a badass over here. Last but not least is the Bond film that brought us Pierce Brosnan, the Nintendo 64 game that we all know and love, and the greatest Sean Bean death of all time. Of course, I'm referring to Goldeneye. Sean Bean plays Alec Trevelyan, aka 006. After telling his phrase that I'm sure he said to James Bond a lot is the "For England, James, for England," he dies, because it's Sean Bean. Later on in the film we learn that he's actually alive and has been the cause of all the grief for James. So in the climax of the film, James and Alec battle on this satellite thingy, and as Alec gets knocked over the side, James grabs onto his leg, and he reiterates the line, "For England, James?" And like a total badass, James Bond looks at him and says, "No, for me," and drops his ass like a bad habit. The best part is that he actually lives. long enough to see the satellite thing explode and literally fall on him and explode some more. It's amazing. It's the best part of the movie. Well, that and Pumpkin Jackson has Zinnia on the top. Well, that's all for now. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can join the Patreon to support making these videos and my music at patreon.com/TheBisness. Thanks again for watching. If you'll excuse me, I have to go because in my film universe, obviously, I am James Bond as well. So I'll probably have to deal with some